just started Monster Garage again after 14 years, and they got the first episode shot in Austin, and then they shut down everything, so they had to shut down everything. So that's nobody could fly in, and there's certain states that don't want people coming. Like if you're coming from New York, you can't go to Texas. If you're coming from Florida, you can't go anywhere. So we couldn't get these builders in for the Monster Garage show, so they just reopened that and finished episode 2, which I know Jesse was excited about, and hopefully things will get a little better, and they'll try to get some more episodes shot in the next couple of months.
Well, if they need builders, Randy and I'll gladly go in there and mess things up.
Yeah,
I'll take some time off. What the heck?
Yeah, what the heck? Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting edition. I'm going to kind of play this forward. Exciting edition of the Talking About Cars podcast, where it's all about everybody has a car story. Let's indulge in some great car stories from celebrities and car personalities who happen to be on your screen right now. First off, I'm Randy Kerdoon. That is Hot Rod Bob Beck. There you go. And our guest, wow, a reality TV star. He once played an Aryan Brotherhood member in prison. He is an actor. Did I mention the actor part? Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, radio interviewer, pro wrestler. Somehow I missed that when we talked to you last time. Pro wrestler. He also, has a book, which I think is the greatest title ever. It's called, Big Schwag's Positive Self-Help Guide to Losers Like You. And I'm talking to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Brett Wagner is on the show. Thank you, Brett.
Hi, buddy.
Hey. From the Brett Wagner building in beautiful downtown California.
Downtown Santa Clarita, yes.
Okay. I didn't want to, narrow it down that much, but yeah.
That explains the beard.
A steamy 102 degrees today.
Is it really? Oh, wow.
No, but it's hot.
Yeah. Well, so's your career. You're running around all over the place. But before we get into all the car stuff, and also some of the projects you're working on, lately it seems everybody's got a good pandemic story. And, and I'd imagine, first off, when did you find out, what were you doing when you found out that things were shutting down, number one, and number two, how's life been in pandemic land?
So I think January, February, March. So I think towards the end of March, at least the middle of March, I had just gone over and I knew stuff was getting hairy, and I just done a big Iron Horse Mud Ranch, which is in Perry, Florida, which is a big mega truck. It's the Disneyland for mud bogs, and mudders. I just got back from there, and I was getting ready to go to Canada for EG Auctions. You've been to an EG Auction show in Palm Springs. I do 4 shows a year up there. I was excited. I'm like, well, we'll get up here. Maybe after this, they're going to shut it down. I fly to Calgary, get off the plane, drive an hour and a half to Red Deer. And as I'm getting out of the car, the promoter meets me at the hotel and says, hey, they're not allowing us to do the show. As a matter of fact, if I were you, I'd get right back in your car and drive back to the airport because they may shut down the airplanes and the airports and the borders tonight.
Yikes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so since then things just started opening up again, which is great. But besides that, I've probably lost about 8 or 9 appearances, and 3 of those being in Canada. And I love Canada. I love going up to Canada on the West Coast. And so hopefully, well, not hopefully, things are, you know how it is here in California. We never know what's going to happen or what's going on. So we'll see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, from day to day, you never know. I mean,
never know.
First they opened everything, then they closed. Now they're closing stuff again, and so we're all kind of in that situation where we really don't know what's going on. And for people who are in your situation, and entertainers, voiceover people who are in TV shows, this is kind of a tough stretch for you guys because you guys don't have we actually talked about this before, that you guys don't have the usual salary coming in. This is basically your livelihood.
Sure. Yeah. If you're lucky enough to get on a TV show, and we're talking like reality, because that's aside from the acting, because what there's with the COVID thing and shutdown, there's definitely no movies or TVs being shot. But for me, is doing a lot of the reality shows and hosting and doing voiceovers. Yeah, that's shut down too. Now, normally that stuff would be, you'd be able to get under the radar and, hey, we just go record it real quick. No one's going to care. But with the states shut down, we just started Monster Garage again after 14 years, and they got the first episode shot in Austin, and then they shut down everything. So they had to shut down everything. So that's nobody could fly in. And there's certain states that don't want people coming. Like if you're coming from New York, you can't go to Texas. If you're coming from Florida, you can't go anywhere. So we couldn't get these builders in for the Monster Garage show. So they just reopened that and finished episode 2, which I know Jesse was excited about. And hopefully, things will get a little better, and they'll try to get some more episodes shot in the next couple of months.
Well, if they need builders, Randy and I'll gladly go in there and mess things up.
Yeah.
I'll take some time off. What the heck?
Yeah, what the heck, yeah.
We did the Legends build with some of the famous legends out there, and we could use some more famous old legends if you know any.
We're legends for a reason, but I don't think that's quite the reason.
Not for the same reason, yeah.
Yeah, no, not the same reason, I don't believe.
A lot of people, it's tough because a lot of people make their, you make your living going to car shows and bike shows and car auctions, and I do half of what I need to earn in a year to keep my wife happy and myself, eating, and it's tough, but you figure it out. We still can do voiceovers. You just got to do it. You got to learn how to do it from home now instead of going to a studio and doing it. But
by the way, congratulations! You got married.
Yeah, I got.
Since the last time we talked to you, congratulations!
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that? How's that going on?
My wife's throwing her hand in there. I was like,
there you go.
There you go.
Good answer.
We've been together almost 10 years, so it's the marriage thing was just an afterthought, but it was a wonderful deal. And we got married on the beach in Malibu and stepped off of this guy's property real quick because Dr. Dre lives next door, and he yells at people to get off of my beach. So we stepped off, got married real quick, and then went back up on the property, and that was a good thing. So I married very smart. Mm-hmm. So I married a very smart woman, so I did well.
Good.
Very good. So, okay. So recently you were saying you had gone to some place in Kansas City and you flew back. What was it like being on a plane during the pandemic?
Yeah. So recently, as of last week, I was in Kansas City doing a big chopper show. Some states are cool. Some states are not, Missouri was fine opening up. We probably had 600 people here for this chopper show. Was great. Good barbecue. Flying, everybody's wearing a mask, but I flew Southwest. So until September, folks, on Southwest, they keep that middle seat empty. Wow. So even though you're not 6 feet, it's still you get a little bit of room. But yeah, it's everybody seems to be, there was no people freaking out and jumping up, and there's no booze on planes anymore. So you're not going to get that stray drunk who's like, I'm not wearing the mask. And then 30 people because I'll be the first guy to take them down. Believe me, I don't want to wear a mask either. Believe me, I don't breathe that great. I'm a big guy. I'm a type 2 diabetic. I like to be able to breathe freely. But I wore the mask the whole time. It wasn't as bad as it probably was the first month of flying, or at least a month ago.
So you're how tall?
I am 6'5", 300 and unfortunately 25 pounds right now because of this COVID thing has put 25 pounds on me, Randy.
Really? So you need to social distance from the refrigerator is what you're saying.
I do, Bob. It's what it is we bought all this food because we thought that just in case things get really bad and things are shut down and people aren't going to, I bought a giant jar of peanut butter, like for a family of 15. Fortunately, I ate that in a month. So
is that crunchy or creamy?
No, creamy. You don't go crunchy as a kid, creamy as an adult.
All right.
I'm worried about the fillings.
Yeah, well, true that. And the caps. Yeah, let's talk about. Welcome to Talking About Dental Work now here on our show.
That's what old people do. I mean,
absolutely. All right, so Monster Garage. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with that. You talked about they had done the first couple episodes. What's your role in it? You were announcer on it for a while. Are you still doing the announcer part? Or are they bringing you in and you actually get to wrench or what?
No, I can't wrench. I wish I could wrench. I can take a battery out and maybe try to figure out how to change the oil. Yeah, I'm going to do the voices like as I did before. It's going to be awesome. We're still probably another couple weeks. Once they get the second episode edited, I'll probably get in there and do the first and second episode. I don't need to do my stuff till later on. So they just the hard part is getting them shot and done and then getting them edited. So, and we have one less day of building now too. They've made it a lot tougher. You know, he has all these ideas how to make stuff a little bit more dangerous. And for 14 years, he sat on all this stuff. And then when he's like, hey, you know what? I think it's time to do some of these episodes. And I think he's got about 30 to 40 episodes in his head that are, I know the first two are pretty dangerous. But the first one's pretty, I can't talk about obviously, but it's real dangerous. And I think people are going to be really pleasantly surprised. And we're going to get that, that fan base that, that show started the whole automotive craze thing. It really did on at least on the, on cable TV and everything. It was after Monster Garage, after the first season, and everybody was looking for their, what's the next build show? What can we do? And I know Jesse and all the guys and the producers of the original show were very excited that to get that thing going. And it, changed a lot of lives. It took a guy that people used to look at the guy that was wrenching like some, dirty guy next door dumping his oil down in the drain. But, he's an artist. He's creating stuff. He's chopping stuff. He's grinding, ripping and tearing metal apart. And it's that show really made people look at people that wrench for a living in a different light. So we're excited it's back.
Jesse was doing some interesting and dangerous stuff on his own, not just with the show before.
Sure.
He was starting to do some stunts and some heavy crash type things for a while.
Well, that Circle 8 racing is just crazy as it is. I said that right? It's Circle 8, right?
Figure 8.
Figure 8. I mean, come on, man. That's nutty as it is as it gets, man. To get a perfectly good car and barely miss everybody in a couple minutes. Yeah, he's he's drag racing. He's nitro. He's doing bikes, so he's got a bike he's building. I think it's a nitro bike, but that's going to be for the track. And he's a pretty nutty guy. And now in his time off, he's been building these guns, which are amazing, very slick, very out of my price range pistols that a lot of people are buying. And he's learned to work with that Damascus steel. In fact, I think he went to Syria to learn from some metal guy over there to how to use this Damascus steel to make a firearm. And it's they're very impressive.
So he's not just a talker about all this stuff. He's actually hands-on and is a craftsman.
Yeah, he is what you call, he's definitely a craftsman. That is the right word for it. I got to see a little bit of it a year and a half ago when we went down, me and Body Drop, our guy on the show, went to Austin to his shop to do a little filming to see if, it was a little test filming to see if Discovery Channel and the folks really wanted to put Monster Garage back on the air. And I got to watch him make a few firearms, and it's amazing. I mean, it's hot. I couldn't do it. I couldn't sit in there with that kiln and sit there and pound on that metal and get it to shape and what the shape and form you want. But they're all handmade. It's not like an assembly line. So thus the price on these things is pretty but you get what you pay for, right? So he's still making the bikes down there. West Coast Choppers now in Austin. They're still making some bikes, and he's making the knives and the cutlery and the guns and the firearms. So, and now we're lucky enough that we're going to get another shot at shooting Monster Garage again. And all those ratings that some of these fake shows have had for a while, not you two guys, I'm not talking about your show.
No.
But all these other build shows, Randy, these fake reality TV shows, are going to be in trouble because this is the real deal is back, as I like to say.
Absolutely, and I think that's going to be real fun to see some of the things you guys put together. Are they going to basically follow the same format? Some of the more creative things that they could do, or
especially from what I've seen, the first two episodes at least, they're pretty wild, and you're going to go wow, and they're nuts and they're loud, and except we have one less day, so the builders don't have one less day to build and get this stuff right, or then it's a failure, and then Jesse will find some creative way to destroy it and make them feel bad for the rest of their lives. Because you don't, with 6, 7, 8 million people watching, you don't want to be that guy that went on the build team and it failed. It's not good. It's not good for your image.
Now, when he builds a car, these other reality shows that you were talking about, they're building someone else's car. They're getting paid to build that car, and it's someone else's vehicle. With Jesse, what happens to the vehicles? Because that's not a contract build.
Gosh, that's a good question. I mean, I know there's still some of the choice ones. I know he had kept over the years. I think our old boss, Tom Beers, who Ice Road Truckers' Deadliest Catch, big producer. I think he kept some of them. I think Discovery Channel might have some of them, and I think some of them got auctioned off years ago at Barrett Jackson's, which was fun. But I think the choice. I don't know who's going to own them now. That's out of my pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
So
I could just see maybe they'll borrow Mike Brewer and he'll just show up and say, "Hey, you want to pay I want you to pay $7,000 versus $5,000. Let's meet in the middle. Put her there."
Yeah.
See, now that could be it right there. We could come up with a plot line, right, Bob?
Yeah, we could. And do you get to drive any of these vehicles, or you're just doing the voice?
I don't think I fit in any of the vehicles. So, have I ever driven one? Yeah, I've the hot. What do we do? The cop car donut shop. I think I drove in Arkansas. That's where we had the old cop car and they made donuts. There's an actual donut making machine in a cop car, which was pretty cool. And I think that might have been the only one I drove. So, but yeah, I would love to drive them. Believe me, they just need to make them big, and I got to probably get out there to Austin when they're shooting.
Yeah.
You're saying Jesse's got the ideas for all these shows. Is he the guy that decides what they're going to build, or is it a committee that he works with?
That's a good question, but I would think that he comes up with he will probably throw 30 or 40 ideas out there, and then him and the production company, I'm sure. And I don't know if Discovery gets involved in that, but definitely the production company. They probably go over it and pick the best that they think is going to. But I mean, he's had 14 years to think about it. So from what we discussed and what he talked about, we did a little special called Quarantine in the Garage that Discovery Channel should air pretty soon, and it shows a sneak peek of the new garage and a little bit of the first episode and some of the cool stuff that goes on, some of the new equipment, which is great. 14 years later, the equipment and some of the stuff is amazing. So it's going to be pretty exciting. I think it all comes from his noodle up there. So.
All right. Now, you're not necessarily a car guy like Randy and I are, but you are a Harley guy.
I am a car guy. Remember, I did host a drag racing show for some time.
But you're into Harleys.
I am a Harley guy, yes.
What are you riding? Yeah, you can do both. What are you riding these days?
2017 Road Glide that the wife likes.
That's
as
good.
As long as the wife likes it, then we're good. Then it's all fine and good. But I love choppers. Believe me, I'm just a big dude, and I'm getting close to that 53 years old. So
it's so young.
Yeah, the youngster.
So young.
It's a little tough. It's a little tough getting on some of these rigid bikes and some of these other bikes. So I do like the big Cadillacs, the geezer glides as we call it. But now, I did almost go 196 miles an hour in the quarter mile on a dragster,
a
top dragster. So I would say I'm still, I'm a half car guy.
Wow.
I'm half car, half Harley. I can afford the Harley. The cars seem to be a little bit more money.
Well, 2 more wheels. So I figure,
Yes.
Yeah. Bigger
Absolutely.
seats.
Yeah.
I'd love to get a dragster. We could throw your guys' logo on it. You need to sponsor me in the top dragster.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, we'd have to have money to do that. But hey, we're just starting. Our Two Tired Guys YouTube channel is going strong.
Good.
So it's starting strong. Let's put it that way. So
yeah, someone could come in and buy it up quickly.
Sure.
They can see the great interviews.
Hello, Netflix?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Amazon's on hold. Okay.
Amazon on hold, yes.
I mean, what did Joe Rogan, what did he just, $400 million or something? He just did deal for his podcast?
Jerry Seinfeld, he was doing comedians in cars getting coffee or whatever. He sold it to, I believe it was Netflix, for more money than I can write out. So, that'll buy him a few more Porsches.
I mean, look, I figure, the three of us, if I can include myself, because you're going to need a voice of the show.
Well, yeah, it's a point there.
At least an introduction and close. I figure, $20 million for a 5-year deal would be, and that'd be a bargain for somebody.
True, yeah, I'd go for that. No problem.
Yeah, we could actually afford producers to help us put the show together and all that, and get guests and all that.
And real cameras.
And real cameras.
Color for the hair. You get some color. I could get a nice color.
I tried that. Once, and I look like a guy that poured black shoe polish on his head. It doesn't look good.
I got you.
But it's kind of like, it's just kind of like a period kind of thing, right, Bob?
Yeah.
We look like Methuselah, for God's sakes.
My kid gave me. I've been like this since I'm 30. And for Father's Day, my son got me hair dye one year. He thought it was a joke, but I actually used it. And for 10 years, I did that.
I knew somebody that actually used that kind of stuff, and it black hair dye, and it always came out purple. Yeah. I don't know how that works, but it came out purple. So I just decided, I'm not going to do that. So we're boldly going where just about everybody has gone before.
Besides, Brett looks more distinguished.
He does, doesn't he?
Yes.
And he looks more threatening if you needed another guy in jail. Speaking of movie roles, I still haven't seen this movie yet, and I kind of want to one of these days, but the Happy Time Murders. Happy Time Murders, which was basically a puppet mystery, 2 words I've never put back to back before.
An R-rated puppet.
R-rated. There were some scenes in there on the previews. If you haven't seen the previews, they're worth it to go look at because it's hysterical, but I just haven't had a chance to see it. What did you play in that? Were you a voice of a puppet or what?
I play a convict.
Oh. Okay.
I play a convict beating up the lead puppet. I would say Muppet, but I don't think they could, even though it was Jim Henson's son directing it. I don't think they were legally could call them Muppets, but it was pretty cool to be in. I think my scene lasts. It's real quick. I'm getting a few punches in and a few words, and it's quick. But it's awesome to be a part of it, and I can say I was in an R-rated puppet movie. Not many people can say that.
Not for sure. Yeah.
No, I can't say Leonardo DiCaprio can really say that, and he's had an okay career.
He's not bad.
Not bad. All right. So let's talk a little bit about your car history. We've talked about this before, and one of my favorite stories that we did way back when we were talking before about this is was it your first car that you got caught going into a football stadium with?
Oh yeah. Oh man. So let me lead up to that. So a week before that, I used to have to borrow my mom's Honda Accord. My dad had an 84 Thunderbird, and I'd borrow that. And I'd already crashed my dad's car, the Thunderbird, before. And week before that, we were going to get a 69 Camaro and had big flares on it. My dad said, it's great. We went and had someone look at it, and he says, it's great. Going to buy it. And I went out with my friends in high school and following a whole bunch of crew to going one party to another, and I crashed my mom's Honda Accord, and I missed a Ferrari, but I hit a legitimate Ferrari sitting on I was like, oh my God, with people in the car, I'm gonna hit this thing, but I hit a fire hydrant, and that a can opener, and thank goodness it just hit the back of the trunk area and ripped it open like a can opener. So I thought, well, my parents are never gonna buy me a car, but they had to buy me that car the week later. And the very first day I drive it to, I'm like, I got a 69 Camaro, these wide flares, these big slicks in the back. I look so cool. I'm going to high school. I'm going to football practice because I was playing. And I didn't realize those flares were so big that when the gate looked like I had plenty of room to get in there. And everybody's like, oh, look, it's the Schwag's new car. And all of a sudden, wham! And I was like, what just happened? And then everybody was laughing at me. And I was like, oh, no. And I missed football practice and drove home. And my dad had those flares off on that thing a week later. And, yeah.
Gave you plenty of room then.
Plenty of room then, but still embarrassed. I never got it repainted, so you could see that it had the flares off, and it just had a little primer around each wheel well, and it was, a little embarrassing. When I was younger, I was not very careful with cars, and I didn't take care of them. I didn't appreciate them as I should. So now that I'm older, I appreciate the cars. I will get 200,000 miles, 250,000 miles out of a car easily before I get rid of it. Yeah, easily.
When was the last car you got 250,000 miles on?
Well, now it's probably almost at 300,000. A Honda Element.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I got 250 on it, and I gave it to. I always give when I'm done with the car, I will give it to somebody that needs a car. And we had a friend. The wife had a friend that needed a car, so I said, hey, just get it out of pay for the registration. You guys got a car. So we gave that car away, and they are still to this day driving. And that was a couple years ago.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now, would I like a new car? Would I like a muscle car? Of course I would.
Mm-hmm.
And what would it be?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I really liked, Ford came out with those Boss 302s a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. They came out with that new, and I really liked those a lot. I saw them at the Edmonton Auto Show when I was up in Canada, and I was like, this is slick. So I don't know. The challenge
coming back out.
What's it going to look like?
Well, they've changed the front end just a little bit. They've got some stripes on it, a lot better handling, and a little bit more horsepower.
It's probably 700 to 900 horsepower, I would imagine.
No, they're only saying 480.
Oh, okay. Well, that's doable then.
Streetable, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, streetable. Very nice. I would go with a Mach 1. I like the Fords. I'm a Ford guy, and I like Mopar too. The Challengers, when they first came out, when I first saw a prototype of the Challenger many, many, many years ago at SEMA, it looked great. I'm not so a big a fan of what they look like today, and I'm definitely not a fan of a four-door Charger. I don't get that. It still does not compete.
Yeah, they should have just called it a Polara and given it up.
Now, when my wife was growing up in Olympia, Washington, her father had a 69 Mach 1. So, yes. So that would be something. Even if we got it, I'd be able to drive it once. she would take over. So
nothing to worry about. It doesn't have fender flares. It's okay.
Yeah. Just don't drive it on football fields. That's okay. I understand
right.
that. That'd work absolutely fine. All right. So there was there's a picture of you in makeup for a movie role on your Facebook page. Tell me about what was the toughest, longest situation where you had to actually sit for a big makeup thing to add to you becoming a ghoul or whatever it was for a movie role?
Well, that would be The Crazies. That was a 2010 movie with Timothy Oliphant from Justified and Santa Clarita Diet. It was 3 hours playing this infected hunter, Jesse. Almost Human is the company that did the makeup, and that was about a 3 hour job sitting there getting all the different appliances put on the face, and then an hour to take off.
Wow.
and then you got to get these big, we call them Michael Jackson contacts, like he had in from Thriller. They're big, so they cover all of your eye, and they pay a guy gets who's in the union gets about $500 an hour to sit there and put eye drops in. I'm like, give me that gig.
Yeah,
that's the gig I need.
Where do I learn to do that? Come on,
Where do I learn? Yeah. Come here.
But you need an ophthalmology degree for that, or what?
Yeah, you got to go in for those eyes. You got to go to an eye doctor. Gosh, I can't think of his name. Very famous eye guy off of Olympic Boulevard in Westwood, and that's what he does on the side. He does everybody that needs weird eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy to go to, the weird eye doctor.
Weird eye.
Yeah. What? I can see the commercials now. Hi, I'm Dr. Schmo, the Weird Eye Doctor. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So when I first met Bob Beck, I thought Bob was like a weekly visitor there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob. You got a question?
Oh, I've got lots of questions. Now, you'd like the muscle car, but you're looking at what I call pony cars, because that's what they were when they first came out. I would think a guy of your stature would go for something big like a Charger or something.
I mean, if I love Mopar, but if I could afford, it's all about affording. We all work a lot of good big car shows and go to SEMA, and I go to Canada a lot. In Canada, you see a lot of beautiful Mopar up in Canada. Listen, I'm down for anything. I love a Charger. I love a classic, a '68 Charger. I like a Barracuda. I love all that stuff. If you have the money, you can make yourself fit in those cars. So that's how it doesn't matter. I mean, if Shaq can fit in a normal car, I can fit in a car too. So
who said Shaq can fit in a normal car?
Yeah, what's normal about the Shaq?
Well, you pay a little extra bucks. You're paying an extra $10,000, and they're putting the seat in the back. So it's
a little bigger track, and you have no back seat room. But aside from that,
that reminds you of Big Willie Robinson from LA County Street Racers had a Daytona, and they actually did have to put the front seat almost in the back of the car for him to get in.
You're talking about the legend, yeah.
He was 6'6", and I remember him getting in that thing. We're going, where does he sit? And he got in.
Well, it's the same thing getting into when I race up in Canada in this top dragster that I race. It's not easy getting in. I get in better than I get out. It takes a couple of guys to help me get out, but it's a difference. I hosted Pastime for so many years, and people used to make fun of me because they knew I didn't drag race. The only thing I ever drag raced, my old Camaro down San Fernando Boulevard up, top of Balboa, up in Granada Hills up there, and that's where we would, get in a little race on a weekend night, and that was my extent of it. And when I started racing top dragster for this guy up in, basically it's come beat the TV show guy. We would find somebody that had a top dragster that raced in that, in that class, and we would do a match race for the weekend. I'd race the guy 6 times. But once you go almost 200 miles an hour, it's a whole different thing now. It's like you get that rush, that feeling. Now I know why guys, spend all their life trying to. I can't imagine hitting, going. I wanted to hit 200. When I talk to guys that do 300, or some women out there that race that can do 300. For me, I can still, at 200 miles an hour, you can still see the track. It's fast. But when these guys are doing anything 260 and above, they're telling me it goes like this. It shrinks. So wow. I don't know if I could handle that. I like this. I don't know if I could handle that. So
have you thought about Bonneville going for land speed racing?
Man, I can't do that. Come on. I would have to lose so much weight. I'd have to get liposuction now just so I could race next year. Because you got to get the weight off, right? You can't be 300.
No. And other than we talked to Danny Thompson, who likes lighter cars, most of the guys at Bonneville run a heavy car, and to keep it down on the ground. They don't use aerodynamics as much as weight to keep them planted.
I would need that Randy Kerdoon swimmer's body to be able to do that. That's what I would need.
Well, gee. Okay.
And that's a good thing. That's a compliment.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's, after all, working out. Ding, 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 ding. That kind of thing. I'm ready to go. Very good. Well, that's difficult to do. I mean, racing like that and going as fast as like that. I mean, Bob, usually, do you ever see, because you go to the Bonneville races, do you ever see people who are kind of tipping portly? The scale? Yeah, portly. Nice way.
Yeah, in Bonneville racing, it's a whole different thing. It's not about rapid acceleration. It's not about the svelte drivers that are running top fuel or funny car these days. You don't have to be super fit. You're driving for a longer period of time, but the stresses are a little bit different because you're building up that speed. You haven't got that initial hard launch. So you've got 5 miles to build up the speed.
A good friend of mine, Jody Perowitz, whose father is a very famous bike builder. Jody's got as a record holder on her motorcycles at Bonneville. So she's going into the Sturgis Hall of Fame this year. And tremendous painter, female athlete, because that's what she is. And she's got some land speed records on a motorcycle, which, I love watching the guys drag racing motorcycles. I love seeing footage of the bikes and Jody at Bonneville, but I do like a cage around me, Yeah. I do like that, at least a little bit of safety, knowing that if something happens, at least I may survive. falling off a motorcycle at 200 or falling off a motorcycle doing 250 on Bonneville, it's crazy to me. So I will stick with once in a while drag racing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've fallen off at 20 miles an hour. No, thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
My motorcycle once fell over while I was standing on it in a driveway. So it's never fun. So there you go. You could injure yourself any way possible. So,
yes.
Well, you know what we've got to do, Bob? We've actually got to do a talking about motorcycles episode.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Cool.
Alonzo Bowden was on once. He's a motorcycle guy. He talked cars to humor me. And then we get Brent on, and we can, schmooze about bikes.
Come on, man. Listen, I learned a long time ago, and I know you guys know this. If you're going to be an entertainer, you better be able to BS a little bit. You don't have to know a lot about one thing, but you got to know a little bit about a lot of things.
Right.
Because if you can't fill up an hour or a half hour, especially if you're doing radio or TV, if you can't fill up that time BSing with folks, or when you have to stall because somebody didn't show up, or something's gone wrong, then you might not survive in this business. Randy, you haven't been around this long because you have been around a while because you know how to BS and you know how to take care of things if the shiznit hits the fan.
Well, I got to tell you this real quick story. When I first started in the biz, I was in Reno, Nevada, working at a station out there, and I was decided I'm going to do a sports talk show. So I went in, I grabbed my Reno Gazette Journal, and I walked into the studio, and I sort of, basically, kind of prepared, but not really the kind of preparation you needed. And I sat down with my first show, and I'm talking away, and I'm saying, hey, this, and I've got opinions, and I've got this, and hey, come on and call, blah, blah, blah. And I basically read the last page of my preparation and looked, and 20 minutes had gone by. And I went, ruh-roh. And basically learned to tap dance, hoping that someone would show. In fact, I almost got to the point of saying, by the way, I have a puppy here. I will shoot this puppy if you don't call me now. That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's and Bob knows. I mean, we've done radio before where we don't have a guest or a guest doesn't show up, or and if you I don't want to say that word, but if you exhaust everything real quickly. Then you're stuck. So you better be able to know a little bit about something or a lot of, so you can at least, you can fill that time spot. So I learned a long time ago with what I do, and by going in and doing a lot of different things, the radio, doing the voiceovers, hosting, that you just gotta keep talking. Mm-hmm. In pro wrestling, right? So I learned real quick I wasn't going to be a pro wrestler. I was too fat and out of shape, but I could talk, so I became a pro wrestling manager. And I always tell the guys that are wrestling, like a Bobby the Brain Heenan or a Jimmy Hart. I said, look, if you don't learn to cut promos, they're going to stick you with someone like me, right? And I want to steal the heat too. I want to get a gig. I want to be in the WWF. I want to be working for AEW, which is our new company we love watching. Me and the wife will watch tonight on TNT.
Well done, by the way, on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The phraseology was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes. So if you don't learn to talk, it's not even in acting. You got to be able to talk. You can't be nervous about stuff. And on the radio, especially when folks can't see you, that's where the freedom, there's a certain freedom. And you guys know this, and you can attest to this. Before I even met you, I knew your voice because I listened to you for, God knows how many years on the radio. This is Randy Kerdoon. I mean, I used to be able to do your voice pretty good. I don't do it.
Oh, God.
But, you got to be able to have that freedom and be able to talk or, go flip a pizza or something or,
If you can't baffle them with brilliance, if you can't baffle them with brilliance, you bewilder them with bullshit.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Note to self, bleep Bob at... How long are we into the show?
I don't know.
Okay, there
look
we
at
go.
the timing there. Hey,
Brett did so well not to cut. Go ahead.
And then there was me.
Yeah,
Brett,
go
all
ahead.
right, we talked about you got your Harley, you got the new Harley. Tell us a little bit about that. Talk about the bike, because the last time I talked with you when we were still in the gas studios,
yes,
you had an older Harley, and you were trying to step up. But
yeah,
what do you got?
So with the 2017 Road Glide, it's I got to remember that's not just me on the bike. And as I get older too, and I'm heavier, and I'm a diabetic, and I have a blood clot in the right leg that doesn't want to go away. Yes, I'm giving you all my ailments now. Dr. Bob, yeah, thank you. I need something a little more practical, and I like to go out on the weekends, or if I want to go to Arizona, if I want to go to Vegas, you need something that's not a rigid chopper. You need something that's very comfortable. And Harley, these road glides are like just big Cadillacs, and it's like me, and it's like Elvis and Priscilla in a big Cadillac. It's me and the wife on the Harley. That's how I look at it. It's like, yes, Elvis and Priscilla. Hopefully I won't die like he did.
No, don't do that.
No. Well,
so you got the stereo and the big speakers.
Oh yeah, I got the stereo. Gotta have the stereo, man. Now, a stereo can be distracting for some people. Again, I like to hear the motor, and I won't wear earphones because I already have a full face helmet for protection. And then if you put earphones, you can't hear the cars coming up or a truck coming up on you.
Right.
It's dangerous, and especially in California, riding before was dangerous. Before this whole lockdown and COVID thing, riding during a lockdown where people don't care and they know that the highway patrol and the cops are not on the streets that much is lunacy. Mm-hmm. So you better be able to listen and hear what's going on around you. But yeah, I definitely recommend. I like the new Indians are fine as well. The big Indian, the touring bikes are nice, but Harley's pretty much, that's where it's at, unless I could get Jesse James to build me a big giant chopper that had some suspension, something nice,
So is 2 wheels in the back or 2 wheels in the front on a motorcycle okay?
It depends on if you're a spokesman for that company, then it might be all right. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Right. It's not my cup of tea because you can't split lanes. So that's the only problem.
Right.
As I get older, I will get a trike, right? When my legs can't hold up a bike anymore, I'll get a trike, and I'll figure out, I'll be taking the shoulder, and I'll pass anybody anywhere. I'll pay for the ticket. But my wife would like to get a trike. And the only problem is that you're not going to be able to split lanes. So then we're stuck in traffic, and there's nothing worse. Well, in a car, there's nothing worse than stuck in traffic.
Except for being on a motorcycle that you can't split lanes and you're breathing all that stuff completely. Yeah.
And no air conditioning. So you better be able to split lanes. So a lot of states don't allow it, which is crazy.
So do we know
in Nevada? Yeah.
Do we know when Monster Garage may come back, or do we have any idea of a starting time?
I would think with Discovery Channel, I think they just need a couple more episodes in the can, and I would think that I think that's what it relies on. So we have enough that they don't have to, that they can run straight through. If we're going to do 8 weeks or 10 weeks, they can run it straight through and not have to go, oh, wait a minute, we have to take a month off because we haven't been able to film. So I would think we're probably towards the end of the year, a couple months maybe. I would think, I hope.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Good, Bob.
Now, you talked about being a spokesman.
Yeah.
When you and I first met, you were a spokesman for a lawnmower company.
That's right. 17 years, Bob.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for that plug. I forgot. Bad Boy Mowers. Batesville, Arkansas. The fastest zero-turn mower company growth in the world, Bad Boy Mowers. Well, great. 17 years. Lucky as can be. I've done their voiceovers for their commercials. I will go make appearances as some of the dealers when they have a grand opening or they have an open house. So I've been blessed to work for those guys. Longest I've ever had a job ever in my life, 17 years, that's something. So a couple more years on a handshake. It's always been a handshake agreement and everything, nothing else. It's a wonderful feeling to know that someone gives you your word and says, hey, can we still do a couple more years? And they go, yes. And they shake hands on it, and that's it. So
nice.
It's a good deal. Yeah.
Nice.
It's not corporate America. I mean, it is corporate America, really, but it's just a southern feel. Guys in Arkansas, when they shake your hand, that means something. So,
especially if they say y'all, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So where is the time gone, Bob?
I don't know. It's gone. Where?
It's gone. Well, we're going to now. Of course, we have our Patreon channel that we do if you want to be a patron of the show. Two Tired Guys Productions. And we have interviews with little segments with some of our guests. We're going to do something with Brett as soon as we're done with this show. So if you want to see what happens there and you're not a patron of Two Tired Guys Productions, make sure you run over after this episode and get over to patreon.com and join us, and you will get to see some cool stuff.
I will not be taking my clothes off. That helps.
But all right, there you go. There you go. Hey, listen to, of course, our audio podcasts on radio.com and knx1070.com. Watch our video podcasts, of course, on our new Two Tired Guys Productions channel. Don't forget, subscribe to both. You could actually listen to radio.com while you're driving. You can't watch us. It's kind of hard to do. Follow us along on social media. We're all over the place. Become a Two Tired Guys patron. I've told you that. And let's see. Anything else, Bob, you want to say?
No, we're YouTube, Two Tired Guys, talking about cars, which
That's
is what
right.
we're doing now.
Great American Auto Scene, where Bob, of course, your first line always is,
I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas.
Absolutely. That's a line. He almost cracked a smile there. Did you notice it?
I noticed that, but he's heard it so many times.
Yeah, that's true. He's heard it.
I've been in the studio with him. I know
That's
it.
right.
He says he's got gas. It's not a funny moment.
Yeah, it's a closed studio. The air doesn't disperse real well.
All right, that's Brett. That's Bob. I'm Randy. Thanks for joining us. We've been having fun talking about cars. This is a Two Tired Guys production. See you next time.